Okay, so the video you're about to watch is not edited at all. Now, it's not a waste of time either. I'm not here to just rant forever. I do have a goal. I definitely have something to share with you. But it was kind of important, at least for this specific video, that it was the very first one I made that was completely unaltered. And you'll find out why in a second here. Now, I have this gold play button that I got from YouTube. I'm covering the address, obviously. And I just keep seeing it every time I walk past here, thinking about the fact that it's now been 9 months, I think, without a video. And why not talk about it, you know? I have good news, I guess. That was really heavy. I have good news and I have bad news. So I guess I'll start with the good news. The good news is I have plans of new content. Now, this is very tentative, you know? This is not like I'm coming back with 12 videos every hour. It's just, I have goals, I have aspirations, I have the objective of uploading more content this year. And then the bad news, I guess, would be the reason why there hasn't been any content for the past 9 months. So, to put it simply, my anxiety peaked. There's no special way for me to put this. I've been spending the last few months of my life, like 3 months straight, just trying to think of some way to like word it, or maybe something that I could use as a reason, or something that could make it seem less pathetic than it sort of makes me feel. But the truth is, there's nothing. I have nothing. I have no big story. Nothing actually really happened to me. I wasn't able to do my job because my anxiety got really, really bad. Now, I'm going to get into that in a second. But first I want to say, I've deliberately not gone into detail about my mental health problems, even though I've been on the internet for years at this point, years. Sometimes I talk about it. It's not like it's a secret that I deal with these things, but I feel like there's basically two versions of myself, sort of, that I've been managing long before I ever did YouTube. And let me know if this is like, you know, this rings any bells. Maybe you've dealt with this too. I'm not going to say maybe. I am positive that a significant portion of the people watching this can relate to what I'm about to say. So the one version of myself is the one that I put forward on YouTube. It's not the one you're watching right now, actually, even though I am very similar usually, but it's the one in every other video that's on my channel where things are edited, things are snappy. I have a point. I have a reason, you know, I have the everything. Everything is to get, my face is shaved. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, I know I didn't shave my face. I'm not there right now. But typically I am so together. I have a schedule. I have a plan. I have talking points. I have an outline. I have, you know, the editing software. And so I've been pretty comfortable only putting that part of myself forward because it's the only one sometimes I feel like I'm allowed to show, if that makes sense. Because before YouTube was even a thing, I always had that part of me. The part of me that gets up every morning, brushes his teeth, like the things that seem really simple, showers, you know, gets his hair taken care of, all of these things. And I have to have that part of me. It's sort of like a shell around the other part of me that I try really, 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 really hard not to let anybody really see or deal with. And so I guess that's part A. Part B, or the other part of me, is like, and I guess I can give a trigger warning for extreme like mental health discussions here. But to be quite honest with you, part of me just wants to die sometimes. All the time. It's like, I haven't found a way around it. I search for ways around it. I do everything I'm supposed to do, like, you know, therapy and taking care of myself and all of that stuff. But the truth is, I have really severe anxiety and depression, and it often leads to suicidal ideation. It's tricky because I've never done anything. I've never actually hurt myself or attempted anything like that. And I won't. And that's part of the reason it's so tricky for me. Because I don't feel really like I'm allowed to say that I have this problem. I've never tried to end my life or hurt myself in any way. And I'm aware that I'm not going to. So it makes me feel crazy for that percentage of me that always feels like I just don't want to do this anymore. I know where it stems from. I've done a lot of therapy, y'all. This is not like it's a surprise. It's not like I'm broken or anything like that. And I have ways of mitigating this. And I feel like the two parts of me, there's percentages, right? Sometimes if I try really hard to get out of bed in the morning and brush my teeth and look presentable and surround myself with positivity and all that stuff, I can get the part A of me to be 90 through 99%. So sometimes I'm perfectly fine 99% of the time. There's just that 1% of me that still deals with intense anxiety and depression and all that stuff. But it's kind of easy to ignore that when I'm doing really well. But then sometimes it just switches. Sometimes steadily that part B, that just part of me that can't do this, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And so what happened around last year when I stopped uploading content was I felt like for the first time in a really long time, it was 0, 100. Just steadily, due to burnout and few personal things in my life, that armor I would sort of wear of having everything together and taking care of myself and putting my best foot forward, it was just wearing away little by little by little by little by little by little. And at one point, there was nothing left. The circumstances surrounding me uploading that last video on my channel were so bad. I vaguely alluded to it in the beginning of that video, but I was literally texting people before I uploaded this, I can't do this. I can't do this another day. I can't upload another video because if I have to do this, and I don't know how to explain it. And I wasn't properly explaining it then either. It's not that I can't do that or that I didn't want to do it. It's just I was running literally on empty, literally running on zero. I had nothing. I can't create something from nothing, I think. And that hurts sometimes because I consider myself to be a creative person. I am literally a creator, but even before YouTube was a thing, I would do artwork and just all these things. You can always find me making something, That's something I pride myself on because it's just in me to create things. But the thing is, it's always caused me problems because when I have nothing to draw from internally, my desire to create, it just burns a hole inside of me because I can't do anything with it, if that makes sense. So that's what happened. It wasn't just burnout, really. Yeah, obviously, burnout was a huge part of it. It was just the fact that literally I could not sustain myself. That part of me that I draw from to wake up in the morning was gone. It was just gone. So it was pretty bad. It was pretty dire. It was even worse than I'm making it sound now. I know I cried for 2 seconds, but it was a lot more than 2 seconds of crying when this was happening. And so my decision to take a break from YouTube, it wasn't a decision. I literally would just start having panic attacks just thinking about trying to create things because I'm just I have no content. So what am I supposed to upload? And of course, the anxiety part of my brain would take that little small thought and blow it up. oh, well, if you don't have content to upload, no one's going to watch you. And that makes sense because you were never worth watching anyway. And, you have to do all these things just to get people to like you. And these aren't true thoughts that I actually believe, but like anxiety doesn't care about things that are true or make sense. It just makes you feel the weight of the worst possible scenario, even if you're not in it. And so that's what I was dealing with. So I would set up the camera like this and I would try to record a video off and on for months. And I would just have like massive attacks just leaving me on the floor, literally on the floor sobbing, just like, I can't do this. And the thing about anxiety for me is it's very physical. I know it's a mental problem, but for me, I feel it. It hurts. It hurts a lot. Especially, I don't know how to explain it. Depression does that too, for me personally. Even though nothing is physically wrong with me, I can feel what I'm supposed to be feeling. Like for me, depression isn't sadness at all. Sadness, I would sometimes be kind of happy to even feel when I'm in the midst of depression. Because for me, depression is nothing. It's nothing. I can't explain it if you've never experienced it. I feel nothing. But what's worse is that it hurts. Depression is when I feel nothing and it hurts because I can feel the hole where I'm supposed to be happy or sad or excited or energetic or relaxed. That's like just a big void in my chest, literally just sucking in every part of myself to where I have no energy. And that hurts. So that's what would happen to me when I would try to upload videos. I would just spiral so much that it would throw off the rest of my life and I wouldn't be able to do anything. It was bad. Okay. So the thing about like depression and anxiety for me is like these things don't go away, but I have mitigated them to great success at several points throughout my life. And so it had to pass for sure. I had to get, like, I was at 110. I had to come down to 100. And once it finally passed a little bit, instead of making YouTube videos, which is what I would always do, I paid attention to the things in my life that I could do to cut down on this happening to me in the future. Because is it my fault that I deal with these problems? Absolutely not. It's not. But that doesn't mean that there's nothing I can do, if that makes sense. And so the very first thing I had to do, y'all, I had to get off of Twitter. Like, I know it sounds kind of funny. Twitter had to go, okay? Just done. Dead in the water. No. And that's exactly English. That's exactly still where I am. That's still exactly where I am. Now you see why I edit my videos. I posted something on Twitter earlier, just kind of letting people know that I was alive. That way y'all can see this video. But like, no, dude. Twitter for me was not it. Every time I would open it, I would get depressed. And so weirdly though, I sort of wanted that. I wanted something to just look at and justify feeling so bad all the time. You know what I mean? I felt bad, so I was like, let me just go look at how bad the world is and find a reason for why I feel so terrible. And if there's one thing Twitter's going to do, it's give you a reason for why the world is kind of terrible. So every single day, I would just flood my own brain with stories of people. This sounds really dark. Dying, getting like attacked, doing terrible things to other people. And it's not even like I had to search for these things. I could literally just scroll. I could literally just open Twitter, go to the Explore tab, and see someone dying. Or like see something blowing up, or see kids not surviving. And I wasn't seeking those things out because of what was happening. It was just completely subconscious. I was fueling the way I felt without realizing it, sort of, even though it wasn't like completely unconscious. Let's be honest. We all know in the back of our minds that Twitter is like kind of, but I was doing this for such a long time that I had to let it go. So it wasn't easy because I do feel like Twitter and a lot of social media does come with a certain level of, I don't want to use the word addiction, but I do feel, it's like really nice seeing things update. I like, you swipe down and then the little bar goes like that and then you have new things to look at. That makes my brain happy. It floods it with, dopamine, endorphins. Are those things? You can correct me in the comments. So I did feel a bit of an addictive issue there. It was not easy for me to just log out of Twitter kind of for good. Now, obviously, I still have my account because that's where a lot of the people watching me are. So I'm not like leaving. That would be kind of silly. But as far as the day-to-day ritual I had of going to Twitter, expressing myself, had to get rid of it. So that was kind of the main step I did. The second thing I did was I evaluated my content. I evaluated the sort of things that I was putting out on a day-to-day basis. And I kind of like it. I actually was like, I'm gonna do all this soul searching and then I'm gonna realize that my videos are, but no, honestly, I like my videos. I don't regret any of them. They're like all still there. So but the one thing is, it's just, I think they were incrementally weighing on me. So it wasn't hard to sort of make a video, but if I make a video where something terrible happens, which I did quite often, in the back of my mind, there would be an unprofessional part of me that just feels terrible. Like I made a video about a family who had their dog put down, and I just feel terrible. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I wasn't the only one who did this, by the way. Like when I made this video, a bunch of people also made the video about this family. And my video wasn't about the dog, by the way. It was about this weird thing that they had done with adoption. But in the back of my mind, I knew that like, yeah, this family totally like got rid of their dog instead of just, finding a new home for them or something like that. And so like, it's kind of like when I made that video, that was kind of the start of me of like, what am I doing? Like, if somebody told me in real life about this family who had done this sort of thing, I would kind of be like, why are you telling me this? And like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with like consuming content about things that aren't wholly positive. The world isn't wholly positive, okay? It would be nice if we lived in a world where you could just watch like videos of cute pets doing things all day, every day, but you would be in a bit of a bubble. But I was confusing my responsibility of staying educated and informed with the fact that I thought I had to just know everything bad all the time. I thought to myself, I can't just stop paying attention to things that are happening because that's like a really sort of privileged take. It's nice to be able to just not pay attention to bad things when they're not happening to you. So I was like, no, I have a responsibility. Everything bad that happens, I have to be there and talk about it. And it was just too much in the long run, honestly. That's the best way I can put it. I was just fatigued of bad things happening. It doesn't mean that I don't care or that I think they stopped happening magically because I stopped looking at every single story. But I do think that there is like, and it's not just me, this thing where people think they have to know everything bad that happens all the time, or else they're like a bad person kind of, or they're just like privileged in a way that is like wrong. But like, I just don't believe that anymore. I don't believe that you have to look at everything bad happening all the time. For me, that was a huge reason. It was like Twitter was here and me knowing everything horrible all the time was right there. So even though I like my videos that I was uploading, just the process of finding the things to talk about became so draining that I couldn't do it anymore. So there's that too. And then I guess the third main thing I did was I sort of asked myself, what do I want? You know what I mean? What do I want out of life, out of YouTube, out of everything? And honestly, y'all, I just want to make videos. Like, I know there's like a running gag of like, oh, he uploads videos for money. I started the gag, by the way. I'm constantly joking about how I just do this for money. Excuse me. And on the one hand, it's kind of funny that people get mad at that, because I'm like, doesn't like everyone do their job for money? But like, you know what I mean. But the truth of the matter is, of course I'm doing this because it pays my bills and all of that stuff, and money's nice to have. But I'm driven to create things. You don't understand. I will never stop making things. I just figured out how to turn it into a thing that worked for me. But I would never stop creating things, even if YouTube didn't exist. I made videos before I knew YouTube existed. Like, I have a bachelor's degree, which I can never find. In mass communication, where did I put my degree? One day I'm going to move and I'm going to leave it behind and no one's going to believe me. But my whole entire degree is in how to create things, because it's mass communication with concentration in digital film and television production. Like, behind the jokes about the money and all of that stuff is just this innate and burning desire to like make things that people like watching, because I like communicating with people. I feel fulfilled when people feel connected with things that I created. So that's what I want. And I sort of realized it doesn't have to be bad things happening to people. I can kind of create anything, you know? Now, of course, I did deal with a lot of fear, because I was like, well, the truth of the matter is negative things get more money. They get more views. They get more attention. They get more everything. And so I was like, if I stop creating these things, then my entire business is going to fall apart. I have a business obligation to talk about bad things. And it's not just me either. I would also pay other people to help me with this kind of thing. So that's sort of where my mind was like, I have to do this. Otherwise, I'm going to fall apart and lose everything, and my business is going to fall apart. And then my business fell apart anyway because of my mental health. So this is the part where I would add a cringy zoom, but I'm not editing video, so I can't make that sound any less sad. And I sort of realized, well, man, if there was still a possibility that this wouldn't work anyway, shouldn't I just upload things that I actually get joy from? You know what I mean? And I don't know if that makes any sense. But that's sort of where I wound up. So the fear that I had of people not watching things if I didn't put some terrible thing in the title and someone else's face in the thumbnail, it's gone. You know, I choose to, can't edit that out. That's gross. I choose to believe that people will still watch my videos, if that makes sense. Because I've always marketed my videos towards people who enjoy watching them, if that makes sense. I don't need people watching the videos who don't like me. I just need people watching the videos who like the videos. If you watch the videos and you don't like them, you're definitely entitled to that. But I just need to focus on finding people who will watch the things I create, if that makes sense. It's not quite as dire as I was making it out to be. A lot of that was just anxiety sort of clouding my brain. But, so yeah, those are the three main things. I got off of Twitter. I stopped trying to know everything bad happening all the time. And I asked myself, what do I actually want to do? What kind of content do I actually want to create? Does that make sense? And so it took a really long time for me to get answers to those things, but I do have them now, thankfully. I do definitely know where I want to go with things. I definitely see a path to success instead of just like the darkness that I was feeling every time I would think about YouTube. And that's sort of where I am. That's sort of where I am now. It's a much better place than I was 9 months ago. I'm happy to report. And, I did have to kind of go into lockdown there. Like, this entire time I've been gone, I know on, like, you may have seen, like, reposts of stuff on Snapchat and Facebook and all that stuff. But I have literally not created anything. I haven't been able to make anything until today. I unironically have lost track of how many times I set this camera up and tried to make a video. But you know what? If I think about this any harder, I'm not going to upload this one. So, I don't know, dude. I hope this made sense. It didn't need to make sense, though. I really hope you got something out of it. Because I always over-explain things. I always feel the need to have a reason for why I feel things. But the truth of the matter is, I don't need a reason to feel things, and I don't need permission to feel the way that I do. And so I think realizing that sort of has made it a lot easier to breathe. And I hope maybe you watching it can get some of that from me. Maybe not. But I don't actually remember what the last outro thing was I said in my videos 9 months ago. So I'll just make up a new outro here. Bye.